Hey everybody! Welcome to another DIY here at Hometalk. My name's Julie and I'm a DIY craft blogger over at Julie Measures. And today we're going to do some spring crafts with eggshells. So the next time you're making a big breakfast or cooking with eggs, don't throw the eggshells away. We're going to craft with them. And as we're going today, there's always a giveaway here at Hometalk during the live videos. And today's giveaway question is, what have you made or crafted using eggshells? So make sure to let us know in the comments. And as you're joining in, I'd love to know where you're viewing from. I'm here in the North Texas area near Dallas, and spring has sprung. We've got wildflowers everywhere. A big Texas tradition is bluebonnet pictures. We're all ready for Easter, basically, is what I'm saying. It's warm here. So, I've got 3 different eggshell crafts for you today to get you in the spring mood. They'll be great for Easter and just springtime in general. So the main supply, obviously, for eggshell crafts is going to be an egg. So as I said, I've got 3 different crafts that we're going to make. And to do that, we're going to crack the eggs 2 different ways for those 3 crafts. So I'm going to start with, one of the ways we crack the egg, I'm going to use for 2 projects, the other way is for 1. So we're going to start by cracking off the top of the egg. And to do that, instead of, for baking, I usually hit the egg in the center, crack it in the middle, and do the thing. For this, I'm going to try to crack it along the top, and so I'm just hitting it on the side of my bowl and breaking off. And I'm kind of going slow to crack around that top. There we go. So break off the top and pour out the center. So as you can see, I've got a much bigger top, or much bigger bottom portion than the top. Now, once your egg is cracked, you're going to rinse it with water. And then once you have as many eggs cracked as you want to make the particular craft you're working on, put the eggshells in a pan of water and boil them, because even after you rinse it, sometimes there's some residue left over, and by boiling it, you get rid of all the residue. Then I put them, for this particular one, when I crack the top off, I put it back in my empty egg carton, upside down, and let it dry for about 24 hours. And then it'll be perfectly ready for your crafting. So, I can move that over the way. I cracked a bunch of these and then saved the egg part to make breakfast for my kids. It was great. So, wipe my hands off. Once you've got your egg nice and clean, it looks like this. So it's all completely dry and ready for our craft. So the first thing we're going to do with our eggshells is make a candle. And I'm doing that with some old crayons. I have a bag of old crayons. My kids have never been good at keeping them in the boxes, so we just kind of throw them in a bag and then they're there for when I need them for projects or different things. But this candle is great because, just eggs and crayons. So obviously the first thing you need to do is peel your crayon. And I guess I'll back up 1 second. So for each candle in my eggshell, I used about 10 crayons. So each crayon needs to get peeled and then broken into pieces. Now, because I'm using crayons that I already had, I didn't have, 10 crayons in the exact same color. So I used a range of colors to get a pink hue for this particular candle that we're making right now. And then you could pick, maybe you could do a candle that was yellow, and so you pick varying crayons in varying shades of yellow. You could do a green one, blue, whatever spring color you want. Obviously I've got some real light pink, I've got some dark. As they all blend together, we'll see what color comes out. And that's kind of the fun thing too, is by blending all the different colors, you can have your kids help you sort out the colors, put them in different piles. If you go check out this project on the Hometalk page on my website, Julie Measures, you'll see pictures of our different piles of crayons that we sorted out. So I just broke each crayon into like 4 different pieces. And then I'm putting it in this paper cup. And I'm going to microwave it on, from my microwave, I found that I could microwave it a minute at a time at about 50% power. So microwave stir, microwave stir. If you've ever used melted chocolate for treats or things, it's kind of the same idea. I'm just kind of slowly at a lower temperature melting it. I have seen lots of people recommend using a double boiler. I honestly did not want to have to mess up one of my pans trying to melt crayons in a double boiler. If you wanted to use a regular paraffin wax for candle making or other candle making supplies, you know, you could do that. Since I'm having fun and doing these bright colored candles using crayons, I'm just doing mine in a paper cup. So I'm going to hand this off to my nice husband who's helping me out here. You can also say hi to my sister who's doing the camera today. And we'll get that melted, and I'll go ahead and start one of our other eggshell crafts. So if you're just joining in today, we are doing 3 different crafts using eggshells that are perfect for spring and Easter, and most of these are great. You can do it with your kids. It can be a lot of fun. So our second eggshell craft is going to be an eggshell ornament, terrarium kind of thing going on. So, like I said, we cracked the eggs. We're going to crack them 2 different ways. So for our candles, we cracked the top part off. For our terrariums, because I want to look in it, I need to crack like right in the middle. And I'm going to be honest, this one was a little bit trickier. So I took just a sharp knife, here's my bowl where I'm going to put the middle of my egg, and I just sort of tapped the middle to create a hole that I could then break open more. I'm pulling off the eggshell, trying not to get it into the yolk that I'm going to pour into this bowl. Like I said, you could do these, you know, kind of plan ahead, so you crack all your eggs and then have a big breakfast, and then while, you know, the eggs are drying, and then the next day you come back and craft with them. So I've broken that open, and now I'm pouring it out. And just like for the other egg that I talked about, I would rinse this with water, and then I would put it in a pan and boil it to make sure to get rid of any residue before I crafted with it. But there's the difference. So this one I broke out the center, as opposed to this one that I just cracked, where we cracked open the top. So you can see I don't have a sink right here, but then you would wash these, and then you could boil them to get them ready for your crafting. So we can put those away. And then you're all ready for your breakfast, right? Because you had all these eggs that you just cracked open. My kids love breakfast for dinner. That's one of their favorite. My youngest is a pancake fanatic, and he always is excited when we're going to have pancakes for breakfast. Okay. So once those are washed, boiled, cleaned, and ready, then they look like these. So there's 2 that are completely dry and ready for crafting. I used some scissors then to kind of enlarge this hole a little bit and make it a little more even. This is going to get a little messy right here for a second. But just kind of using, these are just craft scissors, and I'm just kind of cutting. For all these projects, I wanted them to be a little bit kind of natural looking, a little rustic. So I do want this kind of rough. If you wanted a smoother, you could, you know, cover that with something once it's the size you want. But I'm just going to keep trimming until I like the size of that opening. Okay, that's a pretty good size. One of the nice things about letting these fully dry is that then they're, I don't know, almost kind of chalky. It's easy to clean up. So let's do our other egg and trim it open. Sometimes as you're cutting, it will crack. You know, just go with it.
Got a hello from California, hello from Pakistan.
Hi everybody, thank you so much for joining. I'd love for you to, if you're enjoying our springtime craft video, make sure to hit like, give us some hearts, share with your friends. If you've got crafty friends, I know girls' night crafts are a fun thing to do, or you can have a craft morning with other moms and kiddos. This part, you might want to leave to the adults to do the cutting. But just in a second, when we start decorating our eggs, it's definitely a part that kids can take part in too. So thanks for joining us today. If you missed any of the beginning, I am doing 3 different eggshell crafts. So we've started our eggshell candles, and now we're working on our eggshell terrariums, which are going to be perfect little Easter decorations. So I'm trying to get some broken eggshell pieces out of the way. So those are a little bit more open now. You know what I like? I want this one just a little bit more.
Hello from Poland, the UK, India, Guyana.
Hey everybody. And don't forget
Scotland.
As we're going along today, if you have an eggshell craft that you've done that you've loved, make sure to share that. We're doing a giveaway for a Hometalk tote bag, so let us know any ideas you've got. Alright, so for my terrariums, I want these to be able to hang. So I need to poke a hole in the top where it's going to hang from. So I've got a couple needles, and I'm going to carefully try to, hold on. Okay. For me, this worked really well. See, I'm trying to do it differently. But it worked really well just to kind of put it in the carton. It held the egg pretty well when I did these. To poke this top piece, you could do a push pin. I'm doing just a needle that I had. So it is a little bit scary, I'll admit, as you're pushing it through, because obviously you don't want to crack this egg that you've just spent time cleaning and preparing. So kind of, go slow if you need to. I'm going to keep enlarging it. So I've got 2 different size needles that I'm just playing with. Like I said, you could use push pins, whatever you have that'll make it easy to create a little hole at the top. I know some people do, if you've ever done like a blown egg type thing, that's sort of what I'm trying to do. Gently. See, I'm getting a little nervous trying to, don't want to crack it. I do have a couple, but so I'm just chipping it away with my needle, and that hole is getting bigger.
Someone made cool Christmas ornaments with their kids out of eggshells.
Oh. Did you leave them whole, or did you crack the eggshells up? I've seen some mosaic type ideas where they cracked the whole eggshell. Okay, I'm going to see if that's big enough. So we're going to move them away, and we're going to put a little hole in the other one. And some of these, sometimes, the egg will be much more pronounced. What's the top and the bottom? This one's kind of more uniform shaped, so I'm just picking what I think is the top and going with that. And you could do, I just got regular eggs from my grocery store. Where I live, mostly we have these white eggs. You could color them after you've, cracked them and emptied them if you wanted a color. I said I was kind of going for a more rustic, sort of natural look. So I just left mine the way they were. I know some areas, different colored eggs are more common. I said here in Texas, mostly we have these white eggs. But whatever your chicken eggs look like, that's what I'm using. And I am using real eggs. If you missed the beginning, just eggs from the grocery store. I'm showing you how to take them and make 3 different Easter springtime crafts. We broke open our eggshells 2 different ways. We did some where we did the top, like this one, and then we did some where we broke open the middle, like this one, which is going to be our terrarium. And I'm just kind of trying to be careful as I enlarge these holes in these eggs. Okay, I think that one's a good size. Let's double check this guy. Really, I just want to be able to put some string through here. So whenever I get to that point, I think that's going to work. So like I said, I just used the egg carton to kind of to cradle my egg while I was doing that. And that seemed to work the best for me. So I want to create a little hanger at the top of my egg. So I'm using this really fine jute, real thin. And then, I'm going to decide that's probably a good length. So I'm going to cut that. And I'm making 2 of these. So I'm just going to use that same measurement and cut that again. And now I've got those. And then I'm going to knot the end and then feed the looped part through that hole that we made. And then hopefully the knot end, I'm going to put a little bit of glue on it too, just so it doesn't pull through. But the idea is kind of that the knot is bigger so it won't slip through where my other end will. And we'll see if I made these holes. Okay, it works that way. So let's see if I can get it from the inside into. I can see the twine. I just got to get it. I got to get it to come through. Ah! And sometimes you break it. So, well, let's play with this other one for a second. Then we'll see if we can talk about ways to repair your egg if you break it. You could also use a thinner yarn. That would work too. I might trim this a little bit closer so my hand will fit better to get up towards the top where I'm trying to insert. As I was playing with these the other day, there were a couple that I broke and I just kind of glued the top back down. And you can't really tell. So let's get this guy to come through the hole. It's not cooperating today. We're going to make it work. I can see it. Wonder if... Okay, we're going to take a quick timeout from our eggshells because our wax for our candle that we started with is ready and it will not stay melty for very long. So, here's our crayons that we melted. And I just kind of bend the end to make a little spout. And I picked up these wicks at the craft store. And I'm just setting one in the bottom of my eggshell. Sometimes these little eggshell cups are handy for holding. And then I'm just pouring in the melted crayon around my wick. And you kind of have to hold the wick as you're going. And then it actually cools very quickly. So we're just going to hold it for just a second. You can see already around the wick it's starting to harden. And I'm trying to, oh yeah, see it's already it's already hardening in the cup where I'm pouring. So I'm just trying to hold the wick up and pour in as close to the top as I can get. I did leave these, I didn't even out the top of these. I left them rough for that sort of natural look. You could definitely take some scissors and trim around the top if you wanted a real even piece at the top. But you can see like where we poured it from is already hard in there. So it's already, yeah, that wick is already pretty much standing up. Oh, I've disturbed it a little bit. But. So that'll cool, and it only takes really a minute or two. And you can kind of tap the wick as you're going to make sure that it's standing up and not leaning over. Obviously you don't want a candle wick that's leaning over isn't going to do us a lot of good. I am just working on enlarging this a little bit more. I really liked this thin twine that I picked as our hanger. And I've already made some of these, and it worked, so I'm determined. There we go. Ta-da! Okay, pulling it through. And I said if you wanted to, you could dab a little bit of hot glue on the knot there. And then when you pull it in, then it just helps secure it at the top there. So, that guy is going. I'm breaking off the top more than I intended, so I'm adding a little bit of hot glue. So it can rest over here. If we wanted to, we could repair our broken egg, also with some hot glue.
The broken eggshell pieces can be put around plants, says Amy Crum.
Yes, they are.
Nutrients to the soil.
They are great. That, hold on to that thought, because that's what inspired our third craft that we're going to do in a minute. But yes, they are great for gardening. Okay, I am hastily trying to repair my broken eggshell because I don't know if I would hang this in a finished one, but just for demoing today, we're going to pretend that it's all together and that our hanger cooperated the way that it was supposed to when I made these previously. You know, sometimes crafts just don't go the way that you intended. So, let's pretend that our hanger, it all worked great. It was perfect, y'all. Okay, then, I don't know why I'm unplugging my hot glue gun. I am not done with it. The fun part of the terrarium clearly is not hanging the hanger part on it. It's decorating the inside. So, I picked out some paper crinkle. That's super descriptive. But it almost looks like shredded paper, but it's just crinkled. And I picked this real neutral color, and that is going to go inside of our eggshells to be a little nest. So just pull some out. That might be too much. We'll start with this. And then I kind of wadded it up. And then put some hot glue in the bottom of the eggshell. And stick the nest material inside, like that. I'm breaking more things. Okay, like that. There's a nest. Let's make another nest for our other egg. Okay, once again, I'm just grabbing some of this, looks like shredded paper, crinkle paper, kind of rolling it up, making our nest, putting some hot glue. Not super necessary, but just help make sure that it stays in the egg where it's supposed to. And then we can kind of decorate. once you've filled all your eggshell terrariums, then we can decide what's going to go in our nest. So I found a couple different things. My sister went shopping with me. She helped me. We found these cute little yellow chicks who also don't want to, there you go, stand up.
That one doesn't want to.
Yeah. Chickens. Aren't they cute? Cute little chickens. And we found some, so I went to the store, you know, sometimes I get like an idea in my head. Actually, this is usually how crafts work for me. I get an idea in my head and I go, oh, wouldn't it be fun to make some eggshell terrariums? Because I've seen kind of some ideas with some plastic ones and different things, but I wanted a real rustic, anyway. I'm like, okay, I could get some, you know, natural material for a little nest, and then I'm like, well, maybe we could make some eggs out of clay, because my sister, my camera person today, does clay modeling. And I'm like, oh, it's great, she can make me some little eggs, which she loves when I volunteer her for projects.
So much.
I'm only being slightly sarcastic. But we went to the store, and we're walking around, and I'm making her give me opinions on different things. Well, I could put this in the egg, or do you think this? And anyway. So we're having fun at the store, and we find these cute little chicks. And then we find these wooden eggs that are stickers. And I'm like, oh, well, if I just pull the sticker part off and glue them together, then I have an egg. So, my point being, there's lots of ways to fill the inside of your egg. If you want to do some clay modeling, if you think your kids would have fun with that, or you, totally do that.
Yeah, Jennifer can't wait to try this with her girls.
Even if you go to the store and you can't find exactly what you're looking for, you know, sometimes you go, oh, well, that's a half, and if I put them together, nobody will know that that's not how they originally came. So, a little bit of hot glue, come on, hot glue gun, I just told you, a little bit of hot glue, and then I have an egg instead of a sticker. So, and it's not perfect, but it's close enough for what we're doing today. So let me pull off this other one. Oh, and then I realized I already have a purple one put together. See, here's some we glued the other day. And I'll glue this purple one because I already took its sticker off, so I might as well turn it into an egg.
Could you dye the eggs before the shells before you craft with them?
Yes, so you definitely, after they're cleaned and everything, you could totally just use, you know, normal egg dyeing techniques and dye them. As I said, the white ones are what we have here in Texas. Depending on where you live, you might have, you know, your grocery store, your normal egg might look different. Maybe you have chickens and you have all sorts of cool, colorful eggs. That's totally customizable. Yeah, so if you... Anyway, and then I wanted to mention to you, if you're just joining in, we're doing 3 different eggshell crafts today. We already worked on our candle that we made using crayons. And now we're working on some fun little terrariums. So we cracked open our egg, the center, made it all clean and nice. We used this crinkle paper for a nest, and now we can decorate. So, maybe you just want a little bird in your nest. Maybe he's going to be in there with a little egg. Just like I kind of hot glued the nest down, I also just put a tiny little bit on our chicken, just to try to stick him down in there too. And he's getting a little bent, but there you go. So he can kind of peek out and look at us. Maybe this one will put a couple of these eggs in here. So,
where can you get the supplies for these?
So, obviously the eggs at the grocery store. The eggs or these eggs at the grocery store. These eggs I just got at my craft store. But any kind of, any kind of craft store especially right now with Easter coming up. I actually got these like 50% off at the craft store.
Debbie is going to try these with her grandkids.
So there's a couple different ones. We've got one with a little chick and one with some eggs. And as I said, one of the reasons I wanted mine on a little hanger is because I wanted to make kind of an Easter tree, an Easter decoration out of them. So I happened to have a bunch of these silver tin pin, bucket things. I took some spray paint and spray painted one of them a little bit white. And then I'm going to take all these rocks and put it in there. And then I got some sticks just from my backyard. And I can put those in the rocks. And then I can hang all my finished eggs on my little tree. So you can do a bunch of these different ones. These are all ones that I made the other day. So I said, yeah, some of them I got just an egg in that one. I've got a little chick and an egg in that one. And then this one just has a little chick in him. So lots of different options. And proof that, you know, they do turn out the way that they're supposed to quite often. Just today, apparently I'm having some issues. But lots of different ways you can get all those hung up. And then it just makes a fun little Easter decoration. So that was our second egg craft. I did mention there's 3. So we had a viewer a second ago who pointed out that eggshells are great in the garden. So if you're, oh, see here, hold on. Coming back for a second. Here's some more. So I told you we did different colors. So we did this pink one today. We'll put him back here. And then there's a green and blue one we did the other day. I've got 3 boys who live at my house. Their favorite colors mostly are red, blue, and green. So you can see where my inspiration for my colors came from. But any colors that you want, and you can get those. These are great to put in these little egg cups. And then you can just light that. I did on these trim the wick down a little bit. This one, that's set now. So you could trim that wick a little bit. You just don't necessarily want it so high and away from the candle to start with, but that's really just taking, you know, some scissors and snipping the top off. And then you've got that. So let's put all these over here and we can see our finished ones. Well, I grabbed the stuff for our third craft. Okay, so going back, I said a minute ago, a reader mentioned that eggshells are great in the garden. They are. They're also perfect for little planters. So if you've got something that you want to grow from seeds, eggshells are a great way to do that. I'm using the same way that we prepared the candles, where I broke off the top, washed it. If you missed the beginning, I cracked open the top of this and then rinsed it out with water. Well, I didn't rinse it out with water on the video, but I told you that that's how I prepared it. And then I recommend that you boil it also. Very gently put the eggshells in some water, put it on the stove, bring it up to a boil. Once it's brought to a boil, you can turn it off and then let it cool, and then take the eggshells out, rinse them one more time, and then let them dry. I did quite a few eggs at a time, so then I put everything back in the egg cart. I used all the eggs in my carton, you know, I did a dozen, and then I could put all the eggs back in the carton, and the ones that I broke the top off, I put upside down, and then the ones that I did for the terrariums, where I broke out the center, I kind of laid them, well, see that one's dripping. I kind of laid them sideways to try to get all the water out, is the idea. You get that? Okay. Let it dry for about 24 hours, then they're real nice to craft with. Okay, let's come back to the planters. So, super easy. get some soil. You could poke some holes in the bottom of the egg, but I haven't found that you need to. So, here's some dirt. This is just like a potting mix that I got. There's a clump right there. I'm using, I mean, clearly you could just do this with your hands, but since I'm not near a sink at this second, I'm just using this cup to kind of transfer.
Lots of people said that they've baked confetti eggs, by the way.
Yes. I've actually not done that. I need to, clearly.
And we got a few suggestions for using goose eggs, because they're big.
Oh, yes. For the terrarium especially, that would be fun. I wanted to show that just even grocery store eggs could be great. But yeah, goose eggs would be really fun. And obviously you could get a much more elaborate terrarium if you used that. I talked about this on my blog post over at Julie Measures where I shared this craft that I have always, I know I'm going off on a tangent, I've always loved eggshell crafts. When I was a little girl, my mom went to Austria and she brought me back a gorgeous hand-painted egg that I loved. And I say loved past tense because it did sadly get broken. But it lasted for many years. It used to hang in our kitchen. As I'm looking at my sister and she's nodding. Okay, so fill up the eggshell with soil. For this one, throwing my scissors around. I am gonna hastily, this doesn't have to be pretty, just enlarge this opening. And same, I'm just using my scissors here.
Some people were talking about how they would put glitter on the hanging eggs.
That would be fun. Sometimes I forget about super cute stuff like that because
you only have sons?
Because I only have boys, and so I think sometimes in my head I just get into that, you know, I want it to be decorations that they like. Okay. Not that, actually I say that, I mean, my kids like glitter, so. Oh, my dirt's falling out. That's okay. Alright, so you've got your eggshell. It's filled with dirt. There are some eggshell pieces in there. It doesn't really matter. Then you could plant seeds in here and water it. Obviously, I cannot demonstrate seeds sprouting for you, but I trust you have imaginations. So you plant the seeds, water them, they sprout. Then you take this out to the garden, or wherever you're going to transplant your little seedlings to, and then you just crack. We're going to get messy here. So here's some other ones that I filled also. I'm just throwing all my stuff into this box today, clearly. So then you could just, once the seeds have started growing, you could take it out and just kind of in the palm of your hand just break, you know, the bottom once the seeds have come. And plant that, and then it would keep growing. And then you've got the eggshell right there in the soil, like our fabulous viewer mentioned, and all those nutrients, and it can keep growing. If you don't have a green thumb, it's okay. I don't either. I only have plants because other people in my house can grow things. You can just use the same idea, either fill it with soil or fill it with, you know, maybe some sort of moss from the craft store or something, and put in either real or fake flowers in there. This one's fake, but you could do a real one. And then you kind of still have that real cute look of a little planter. Perfect for spring or Easter. Obviously the fake flower then you can't destroy, but then it can all go. So I hope that you've been inspired by these crafts today. If you missed any of it, we'll recap real quick. From the top, eggs from the grocery store, cracked 2 ways. Take the top off for either our planter or candle. Crack the center for our terrariums. I'll bring this guy over here. Get them all together. Our candles were made from crayons. I found that in a chicken egg, like I'm using, it takes about 10 crayons. Obviously peel them, break them into pieces. For me, I microwaved mine a minute at a time, 50% power, stirring between each time. I just did it in a little paper cup. You could do it in a double boiler, or you could use other, candle making options. I did buy the wick from the craft store, and it just sits in the egg. You pour the wax on top. Those are ready to go. Using the same way of cutting our egg, we made the planter, and then breaking the egg from the center, we made these fun terrariums. So,
Hometalk has picked a winner.
Yes.
Hometalk has decided that Casey Fodder has won.
Sorry. Congratulations on your Hometalk tote bag. I hope you are ready for spring and for some spring decorating and some craft projects. Make sure to check out my website. It's Julie Measures. You can go give me a like on Facebook, and you'll see lots more crafts like this. Be sure to turn back to Hometalk today on Facebook at 5 Eastern Time for another live DIY project from them. Happy spring, happy crafting, and I'll see you guys again soon. Bye.